Welcome back to DreamHack Open Summer, where we have just finished our first map between Renegades and Rooster. Heading now onto Nuke, and things are looking pretty good for Renegades, I dare say. Kev, obviously you're going to be departing us again. Any final thoughts before we do just jump into Nuke? You reckon there's any chance, any semblance of possibility that Rooster does win this one, or
I don't think
is
so.
it Dunzo?
I think it's Dunzo at this stage. I mean, that was like a huge performance in Netic, and they still managed to only get double digits, a little bit quiet from the rest of the team. And look, the whole thing is, once again, it's just strategically, it's the same trap that you see Rooster fall in time and time again. They get into a rut, or they go into a huge streak. They're a very streaky team, and I think they're just not recognizing the warning signs on when to actually take a pause, when a critical round, or when they win a critical round, how to convert that into further success, and how to kind of build back from a loss. So, I don't know. I think it's still a learning lesson, but this is, I feel like I'm repeating it time after time and I don't advocate for this a lot of the time, but I think they need to start thinking about maybe a new IGL, or maybe just changing reins about who's taking over in-game leading. Because it's looking too stale at this stage. I don't think, what we saw just then on Overpass is probably about the same that you probably saw a while ago. It's just that heavy rush B, or a slow methodical play where it doesn't really look that tactical.
Alright, well, you used to be an IGL then, so...
Long time ago.
We're
really throwing it back.
You want to go and join Rooster?
No, but just don't really want to. I don't really have the time to.
I'm sure they're nice guys.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd probably be beyond my league. I'd probably not be doing them justice, to be honest. But in terms of just exactly what Kev said, they're throwing away the game, rushing B, like losing control of their economy, losing control of their game in silly ways. They need to be able to have the background plan to the talent as well.
Okay. Well, we're going to head into Nuke, and hopefully there is a bit more to fall back on for Rooster here, because this is their last chance, at least in the first game of DreamHack Open Summer. It is a double elim bracket, so it's not the end of the world if they do drop here, and it would be well within the expectation if Renegades were to pick up the 2-0 today. But we head on to our second map in the hopes that we will at least get to see Inferno.
Alrighty. Let's take a little look and see what Renegades is going to be doing in this pistol. Looks like smoke's on towards outside. A couple of players grouped up towards door there. Cross in towards secret from two of the T's here. And the rest of them grouped up into door. So they're trying to maybe fade out those rotations.
That's huge. They've made so much noise, and Renegades have pulled the trigger a little bit too early. Chelios went right back up the ladder. It's all getting a bit messy at the moment. Doors opening, doors closing, people running up and down ladders. It's unbelievable. You've never seen anything like this, folks. But ADK may be the one to finish Inns off. Oh, that's sharp from Inns as he flicks onto Chelios. ASAP down now as well. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We saw some pretty crazy stuff on Overpass from him, and maybe a 1-on-4 is in the wheelhouse for Inns. He's certainly looking for ADK, but ADK was ready. He was waiting. And so Rooster actually picked the pistol up this time.
Very nicely done. Going to get themselves off to a pretty smick start on that CT side. Get the economy rolling very quickly. That's what you want to be seeing from them. As for the Renegades, actually, they're going to buy straight up. Going to go for Tech 9 armor. Keen to see what they're going to be doing with that. Looks like quick smoke onto windows.
Well, sometimes I do question whether or not it's better to win or lose the pistol round on the CT side.
Oh, Hats, look at those moves. Jumps straight off of Annex and starts to make his way in towards windows here, but he has been caught off guard by Netic, and it seems like the CTs are doing a pretty decent job of cleaning this one up until In starts to get in towards the round.
Yeah, just continuing to put that damage down, and that's a quick call to go down to B. Great call, actually, from Renegades, because there's no one there just yet. Chelios from Megaton might be able to deny the bomb plant, but looks like Inns will get across, so bomb plant goes down.
Going to try and get off the side, perhaps. Throws out some flashes, but gets caught on the way out. Now it's all on Dexter, trying to play a 1-on-3 from Decon.
Oh, bomb is planted for him. They'll know where he is. He's making a lot of noise. Surely unwinnable for Dexter right now. But he's definitely dodging some bullets. Flash through the smoke. This could be dangerous. Rooster! Oh, he's done it, but he doesn't have too many problems with the time here, Chelios. I thought Dexter, if he would have waited another couple of seconds there, it could have been something interesting. Don't know how he hits those two shots. Magnificent, but Rooster's going to win the round.
It takes a pretty big hit on their economy, though. They will reinvest here. I'm keen to see if Renegades is going to buy up again. They've got enough for 2 sets of AK and armor and then a bunch of Galils, which in theory could, with the economic pressure they're putting on Rooster.
That's disgusting.
It's the only 2 bullets he fired, mate. Yeah, they are going to buy here. I like that decision. And it's actually going to be 3 AKs. This Malta goes down to a Deagle and drops an AK in return towards Hats. So pretty dangerous buy. You got Sicko, the captain of the ASS.
The awesome scout squad, that's right.
I just love his tweet. He goes, so the tag is ass? Nice.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, 1 for 1 so far.
Power player out of the picture, though, for Renegades. Dexter down. Inns has got himself a lot of room to work with, though, already starting to progress into heaven. And ASAP doesn't exactly have the rifle that you'd want in a duel like this. AK wins that every day of the week. So now we've got control of Rafters and Annex. Renegades are just going to split into the A bomb site. This is not looking like a fun situation at all for Netic. Seaside does slow things down a little bit, and Netic, he's capitalized on it. Ins and Hats drop. Chelios from Squeaky opens the door at the perfect time, and I don't know how Renegades have let this one slip. It just looked like the perfect setup for them, but man, Netic, double kill, Chelios 3. Great round for Rooster to win.
Going to put Renegades on that single save, and more importantly than that, starts to let up a little bit of that economic pressure that's been put on the Renegades time and time again. Rooster surviving, still only 2 players I think it was at the end of the day there, but putting their opponents on a save, as long as they put away these Deagles and the P250 without losing too many guns, they should be in a pretty good position. Not only will they be up 4-0, but they need a little bit of a stronger economy than they've got right now, because these rounds have just been too damn close.
Too close for comfort. But if they keep going to Rooster, that's what matters. Netic will see his head fly off. That's courtesy of Dexter with the deagle from Squeaky. And again, Renegades are doing a great job of getting map control on Outer and getting straight into heaven. Chelios falls. Danny G, the same deagles all over again. The exact same thing we saw on Overpass. Renegades this time doing it a few rounds earlier.
ADK is trying to jump off the ladder. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, I know it's Renegades. They're pretty good with these Deagles, but Rooster, they need to be able to clean up these pistol rounds. They can't be losing rounds like this.
Yeah.
This is where they've really had difficulties in this series. 4 players surviving for Renegades. Are they going to even recover that gun? Looks like it. So they take 3 guns away at the end of that, winning with only, I think it was a handful of grenades, 4 Deagles and a P250. They get that round done. And Dexter is just absolutely crazy right now, just running out of Squeaky Door, gets himself a 3K.
Yeah,
and all of those CTs, they're not holding their positions. It's like they're falling back into passive spots. They're giving the Ts a lot of room to work with. You can't do that against these Renegades players.
Give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Sicko has got a scope in hand, the AUG. Interested to see what he's going to do with that.
Outside wall of smokes. Just the Wolfpack approach to the anti-eco here for Renegades. Not giving their opponents very much information. Just walking hand in hand. In towards Secret. Into Chelios' arms.
Chelios doesn't seem to want to have all that much to do with this, but does stop and try to hold strong. A one-man army, but he can really only get rid of Malta. Inns is there for the trades, and he has spotted Danny G as well. Lurking around the side, Danny G won't have enough to deal with Hats. And Sicko backs up his buddy pretty nicely. A couple of quick shots from the AUG. It's just ASAP left alive, but Deagle was nice for him on Overpass. Won't have too much luck this time. 2-3, and Renegades come storming back into the map.
Yeah, and that was a nice round to be winning as Rooster went for that Deagle armor. Fully invested in that last round, try to turn around this. The way this half is going, swing straight back in the favor of Renegades. Now Rooster have to take in the save. Will end up at 3 apiece. Putting together a pretty lackluster buy. They'll probably be in around that 4 to 4.5k sort of mark. Is going to make it quite difficult to have full utility, is going to make it quite difficult to have access to an AWP that's been having some pretty decent impact already. Not to mention the fact that Renegades, already with a strong economy, it is likely to get even better.
Certainly is. Rushing all the way down into that B bomb site go the Renegades, and Inns is looking to farm up a little bit. Doesn't get too much done with that Mac 10, but he's got the backup following him. And a nice recovery on the initial spray from Hats. We'll make short work of Danny G. So we're right back to 3 apiece. Money's okay now for Rooster, though. They should be able to buy back into the round. Seems like they might have let Renegades into the Winners Club a little bit earlier than they should have, though.
And here's the issue with a round like this. Chielos going to go for that Org. Actually, he drops the Org and goes for the Famis, but very limited utility, no kits. So if this goes down to a late round situation, definitely going to be pretty limited as Rooster. No AWP, not the greatest utility in terms of the nades. Yeah, it goes for them. Spam already starting to connect with Danny G over towards Annex there. There's Renegades posting from lobby, taking some fights towards outer. Chelios feeling confident despite having that Famis. Trying to take out Malta indoor, but doesn't end up picking him up. So Renegades, well aware of the aggressive posturing that Rooster seems to be doing, actually do recalibrate, start to move back towards outside, throws up the wall of smokes, Molotov into secret as well. That prompts the rotation out from Chelios, who's already a little bit injured here. Needs to make sure he doesn't overcommit. So if he loses his life down there, that might be the timing Renegades needs to hit to be able to take control of fence and basically secure that round.
Malta has to get a bit of a wriggle on there as the smoke does fade, and he's left the bomb at the top of secret. Danny G does just catch him, maybe peeking back around the corner. Now this becomes problematic for Renegades, but Danny G overcommits to the fight. Inns will punish. Back to the 4v4, and Dexter was getting a bit of work done on the A bomb site, but spotted out by Netic. Still, Renegades seem to be quite committed to heading in this direction. They don't have too much time left either. So the Rooster boys are going to make their way to the A site. 30 seconds and Renegades are just milling around on outer. Hats has now dropped the bomb. Chelios with a nicely timed push through the smoke. Goes from bad to worse for Renegades.
In's trying to wrap around to heaven here. Could be the linchpin for Renegades as Sicko holds the crossfire from Annex. But with 10 seconds on the clock and the bomb being dropped, that's going to be it, unfortunately, for the Renegades.
Yeah, I think Inns is just going to be content to save his AK here.
Not a bad round for Rooster to be winning.
I think it's a disappointing round, though, for Renegades. You know, they had 4 in secret. They were about to go down. Then the bomb gets dropped up the top. And it seems like the plan's out the wazoo.
Yeah.
We'd be interested to see what happened in that engagement between Danny G and Malta, because Malta was across. So he must have repeaked.
Not quite sure. Either way, though, Rooster didn't have the most dominant of rounds in that last round, so their economy's taken a hit here. Still quite poor, so they need to keep streaking these CT rounds together because Renegades have still got a fair bit of cash, and Chelios seems to be the man for Rooster, who's making the plays here on Nuke. Again, in an aggressive position, ADK going to be starting to be pressured at ramp, but he doesn't actually fall back. He definitely could have been punished there, but he does actually find the timing to fall back in towards Megaton.
Yeah, he just needs to be a little bit careful. Danny G spotting the angle. So Renegades now have got control of ramp room, but don't have much control of anything else. Absolutely nothing in lobby. Nothing on outer. Kind of sandwiched into this one spot. Not too many options but to go down to the B bomb site. And Rooster already have a player there, ADK. Watching and waiting. Dexter, first to fall. Well traded by Hats, but it's still a 1-for-1, and numbers advantage persists for Rooster as Chelios gets the timing perfect. Such a good spray down onto Hats. 5-3. Rooster actually looking pretty decent on the CT side. Jump back a couple of rounds here and show you what happened with Danny G and Malta. So this was after Malta gets across, he decides to creep out and see if he can catch the player.
With the bomb, unfortunate. Thanks, production. Don't get to see that too often. Sometimes we're just left wondering, but not this time. Wall of smoke very quickly from Renegades.
They haven't actually gone off the back of it. This time it looks like more of an outers take.
Danny G. 2K there. Coming out of Annex. Dexter's creeping up through door side. Be careful of that as Malta makes good on that previous round where he did have some difficulties. Picks up Danny G.
Well, Dexter just not as quick on the draw as Nedic this time. Normally you'd expect that duel to go the way of the guy in the smoke, which was Dexter. I think the angle for him wasn't quite as good though.
Trade from ins.
1 on 3. In fact, it was a 1 on 4 really. So let's see if he can do it.
Only a difficult situation, but he's... Oh, if he was going to commit up vent there, he might have found the right timing. But with that pressure, he actually keeps 2 of the players towards upper. Spam out on the top of that silo side of the site. Molly's into dark as well. 80k, I think it's ASAP actually holding the cross here, but he doesn't commit to the duel. No reason to. Just keeping tabs on where Inns is.
Well, not too much really that Inns could have done there, short of hitting some magical shots.
And that's a much better sort of round from Rooster in that 3-on-1. Saw them some silly situations thrown away on overpass. That was very disciplined from ASAP. Doesn't overcommit to the fight there. Just keeps tabs on where Inns is. When he goes for the plan, he throws out the molly. 2 players swinging down for a vent after that info's been gathered. Come through window side, and they clean it up nicely. So that's the kind of sensible gameplay that we need to see from Rooster. And that sensible gameplay and continuous streak of rounds on this CT side after being in a rough position has put them in a fantastic position now. Look at their economy. It's doing pretty well, but they definitely need to keep streaking this together up against the Eagles.
Yeah, and that's not always so easy against Renegades. Lots of shots from Chelios. He can't do anything wrong, can
What's
he?
he doing?
He's just running around out in the middle of nowhere, spamming away with the USP. Oh! He's been punished now by Malta. Had to come to an end eventually, I'd imagine, but Dexter gets one more here, and Renegades won't be too disappointed with the round.
Yeah, 2 guns taken away is not too bad. 1 more would be even better. Definitely here's Nedic stomping around here. Doesn't find the right timing though, so 3 alive for Rooster. Renegade's going to be able to put together another buy, but as we head into round 11, Rooster have a reasonably strong economy here. Can probably put together 2 more buys at least, so if they win at least 1 more of these CT gun rounds, they're going to be buying the majority of them. And that's where you want to put yourself on CT side of Nuke. You don't want to put yourself economically in a difficult position. A little bit of cash to fall back on, but they will still need to win a couple of gun rounds to be able to secure this economy. Renegades, slow round from them. Looking for a pick on outside, boosting Sicko up. Nice nade on towards Silo. Is going to do a little bit of damage to Hats. And that's the difference between one of these Augs getting that 1 bullet headshot and not. These chip nades, very important on that CT side. Chelios going to get that initial pick.
I think 80k might have an inkling that Dexter's lurking his way around here, so it's not looking too crash hot for Dexter, I'd imagine. Has he been seen? Surely. Well, Dexter still wins the aim duel, and now it's on to Chelios and no scope. Has to get the trade there. And Inns has no idea where ASAP was. Neither did I, to be quite frank. It's just all going wrong for Renegades, isn't it? Everywhere they look, they're getting shot in the side or the back.
The Chelios effect did. 19 kills.
He's terrorizing them. It doesn't really matter where he is either. He's been on outer, he's been on inner, on ramp.
Remember one of your YouTube videos, one of your YouTube viewers was asking us about Chelios the other day?
True.
Wonder if he's watching Chelios having a game like this.
He is quite the dynamic player when he's on.
Frag him.
That's pretty dirty.
All right. 8th round secured, but not only that, economy secured for Rooster. Feeling pretty comfortable now. Renegades looking like they're going to have to take another save. As long as Rooster don't do anything silly, just close out this anti-eco, get that 9th round. Potentially even put yourself in 10 on Nuke here. And 5 for this series, maybe. That's a pretty good performance.
So far, so good. Wouldn't want to cast a curse it, though, would you?
Well, could just be another hot start. They're a streaky team, Rooster. But I want to have faith.
Yep. Well, it's just the Tech 9s this time for Renegades. Not too much going on just yet, as far as the T side is concerned. A little bit for the CTs, though. They're pushing everywhere. 80k has already gotten himself into radio. Okay, if he only goes 1 for 1 here, it's not going to be too great of a result. An AUG for Sicko. Now, he doesn't have any armor. Chelios misses a shot, which allows Renegades down at the B bomb site. A lot on the shoulders now of ASAP. He'll have the backup shortly of Danny G. I think Nedic's down the bomb site as well. So the rotation has been quite good for Rooster. Yeah, it's just a huge crossfire. There's nowhere for Renegades to go. They've been herded into really what was essentially a trap. 9-3. Rooster seemed to be very comfortable on this CT side.
Doing a fantastic job of it. Fully secured that economy. Closed out yet another anti-eco, even though it's a little bit dicey at points. Renegades now going to put another buy on the board. They want to try and get towards that 4-5 round count so that they can get that strong start on the CT side and get straight back into this map. As for Rooster, as you would expect of a streaky team, you want to see them make the best of this good run of form and just try to get as many rounds as possible, because you cannot take Renegades for granted. Yes, you might have the lead, but they can just bounce straight back, and that's a good way to start it off.
Might get even better. Dexter, he catches 80k as well. Sicko was backing him up. Chelios this time loses that AWP duel. It's by and large been actually going to Chelios in the 1v1s against Sicko, but has to turn around eventually. So 2-on-5, Malta in a perfect spot to deal with Danny G, although he does miss the initial couple of shots. It's a bit messy from both sides. Danny G's going to get his molly down, but Malta knows exactly where he's going to go. Reads the situation well. It's 4-9. I mean, Renegades, they can get to 6. I don't know if that's a great half then for either side, you know? It seems just like a pass score kind of thing.
I'd say it's a pretty good half for Renegades. Especially them moving onto the CT side of a map like Nuke and then starting to close things out. That seems like where you would start to see some of the individuals make some plays. It's a good round for Renegades. See if they can get 5, maybe even 6. See how Rooster starts to respond. Because look, they're playing alright as a team, but this is definitely the Chelios show for the most part. Danny G gets picked on outer, trying to get a little bit more aggressive. And the rounds where Renegades seems to get that first pick seem to go pretty well for them. That last round in particular was a good start. Whereas Rooster, a lot of these rounds, it seems like one of the individuals opens up the accounting for them.
It's Chelios again. 20 frags for him in the first half. We had ins with 20 frags in the first half of Overpass, and how the tables very quickly turn. Now Rooster have a player holding that mantle ASAP with a big spray down. Knew he was pretty cooked. A lot of damage onto Hats and Sicko off the back of the grenade, but Malta opens up too. It's been a little bit quiet in this series so far. That's the perfect time for him to have impact, and he won't need to do much more because Sicko gets it done against Netic, and it's 5-9. One step closer for Renegades to getting that 6th. Salvaging the first half.
And this will put Rooster in a bit of a difficult position now. Money a bit cooked for 80k. Rest of them pretty okay. Chelios can still get that AWP. Only 1 kid on the CT side this time around. Inns is having another pretty good game though. Chelios just misses the flick. A difficult shot for sure, but ASAP going down is going to make things even more difficult. And Sicko just posting on that annex line out of door.
Sicko mode. engaged. And Renegades seem to be aware of the tricks Rooster have been up to on outer, because Inns was well prepared for Danny G. Last 3 rounds of this half have just not been all that inspired from Rooster, have they? It's been a situation again where first half looked really good of that half, and then Renegades start to pull things back. It's 9-6 at the end of the half though, so we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen in the second.
Backs against the wall, Rooster, they're going to have to come out with something pretty special on this T side. I know what you're saying, Jordan.
Okay.
It's 9-6.
Yep,
all
that
right.
is
they're
what I'm
ahead
saying.
they're ahead in terms of the rounds.
It's 9-6, Pilly. They're ahead in terms of the rounds.
But they're
You took
now
the
on
words
the
right
T
out of
side.
my mouth.
But now they're on the T side.
Well, look, I'm just going to say I'm a fan of tea. I have this strawberry tea at home. It's really good.
Really?
Yes.
I have like a blueberry and blackberry one, I think. But I mostly just drink Earl Grey with lemon and a bit of sugar.
Fair enough.
Also just some green tea.
hopefully the Rooster tee is going to be good as well. So far, not the start they would have been looking for. Malta just through the flash, able to get the opening frag of the half. In the meanwhile, though, a couple of the Rooster players managed to get into secret. Chelios trying to cause some issues there, but again, it's Malta. Take his head off.
Nicely done. Puts him into a 4-on-3, but ADK is going to finally take him out, as you do see the T's start to run into this ramp crossfire, but they're being cleaned up by Dexter, which leaves ADK all alone. PG50 armor, trying to scramble through lower, see if he can find one of these CTs and isolate himself a duel, but even past that, he's got to go and collect the bomb from Elbow.
Not an easy task, I dare say. And Renegades well aware of the location of the bomb as well. So they've got all of their players in this area of the map. Dexter just baiting.
Not a bad little shot. Started off. But he's starting to lose a bit of HP here.
Yeah, Dexter knows that he doesn't really have to move. Inns is ready and waiting for the trade even if Dexter were to go down. And Inns is the one that's actually watching the angle, so you can just see how Renegades are playing off of each other and making life so incredibly difficult for ADK. He has to commit to something, but Inns is a little bit too sharp. 7 on the scoreboard for Renegades.
Nicely done. Rooster looking like they are going to buy up, dropping AKs over left and right. See if they can win that second round buy, as we saw on the overpass T side. Would put them in a pretty good position. But I think it's pretty safe to say, similar circumstances to the last map. Renegades is definitely in control of the momentum. They've been picking up a lot of rounds, and picking up that CT side pistol is definitely a good start to things. Patient play from Rooster. They got ASAP on top of Silo, trying to take some shots at Sicko. Rest of them grouped up in towards ramp room. Chelios looked like he was going to go straight through that smoke, but instead is going to slow things down. Not a whole lot of utility here for Rooster. Handful of smokes, a couple of flashbangs. They're going to have to rely on that trade potential on one of these players to be able to rip this round open.
Well, it's starting to let that timer run down quite a lot. Out of smokes. Are they actually going to utilize them to walk into secret?
Oh.
There's a sharp start, and it's not into secret. It's going to be into the A-bomb side. A split through Annex and Squeaky. In's close on the angle. Chelios is a man on a mission. That's 3 kills for him in this round so far. Danny G catches Malta, and now it's just Hats. He can deny the bomb plant, though. They're both facing away. A one-on-one. He knows, I think, where Nedic is. At least the comms have come across. 1v1 for Hats. He can't quite win the round. My goodness. I don't know what I've just watched, but that was something special from Chelios and Hats. In the end, Rooster will come away with the round.
One player surviving, picks up that AK as well. This will give Renegades a bit of a thought in the back of their mind as to whether they should potentially be buying up here, try to break that T-side economy. Start that slippery slope of economic investment, and indeed, it's a pretty big investment from them. Sicko holding on to a little bit of extra cash to be able to go for that AWP investment later on, should this not work out for them. As for Rooster, already lost that initial pick.
Pretty handy with the Deagle is Inns. That's close on the angle as well, but he's not going to check it correctly. ADK was waiting. Both teams really just throwing everything at this round. Curveballs everywhere. I guess Rooster aren't too eager to drop 2-0 to Renegades.
We're playing a good game here, but there's still plenty more work to be done. Smoke starts to fade, and that's a very, very messy exchange, which puts Rooster into a 2-on-1. They're quite comfortable there, especially with Dexter very, very low at this point.
I mean, ideally Dexter would want to find ASAP first. Get that kill, and then it's perhaps a bit routine to get rid of 80k. But I don't see that happening at this range. Did a lot of damage, to be fair. Good shot from Dexter. Good attempt, nice try. NT's in the chat. 11-7. 7-11. Rooster's continuing to sort of just plod along here on Nuke, but every round they grab, they shift the odds a little bit in their favor.
A lot of impact frags from Chelios as well. Very much the engine that's keeping this Rooster train going.
Little engine that could.
Oh, Renegades is going to have to take a save here. And even following this round, I think their buy looking a little better because Sicko wisely held on to that extra $800. He's got 3k in his bank account. That's going to let him get that AWP. Straight into this very defensive lobby setup. Pretty easy cleanup from Rooster. Very nice anti-eco. It's very strong positions that it's going to be quite hard to break with a handful of USPs. Very sensible decision making. So now Renegade's going to put this buy together. To go enough for AWP and light armor. Rooster definitely in the driver's seat. Plenty of cash in the bank, at least for one more buy. But they haven't put it across the line yet. And I'd say there's still a fair bit of fight back in Renegades here. Quick outside smokes, and Sicko is going to get rid of the main source of firepower for Rooster very early on in the piece. Rooster going to have to navigate their way 4v5. And Dexter even putting a bit more of a nail in the coffin. Aggression on outside.
He's been spotted though by ASAP. That was a case of timing. Another couple of seconds and Dexter gets across there for free. But now he should go down. No problems at all. That was so close. Back to 4v4.
Not a whole lot of utility or kits for Renegades here. Quite split up around the map except for this uppers crossfire, but that's right where Rooster is heading, it seems. They're going to be on Ins and Malta to play off of each other accordingly.
Contact play for Rooster. They're already out onto the site. Malta only just now spotting them out. Ins is going to have to get his head up, but it's not going to work out too nicely. I think Rooster was just given a little bit too much room to work there. And ultimately, Renegades will back away and save their guns here.
It's a really good round for Rooster to be winning. They lost Chelios very early on into the piece. But after clearing out that flank, just nicely done by ASAP, they just keep things nice and simple. Just rely on that walk out of door, get those trades in. That's going to secure them this 13th round, and they might even be able to get through the rest of this T side and get the upset here. This next round, though, is one of those rounds where they need to make sure that they convert. Because you're going to have the AWP, you're going to have M4 armor, and a handful of upgraded pistols. Those are the kind of rounds that Renegades win all the time when they're behind. I've seen them even against, like, Order, even against Avant, when they're down, like, 13 and something. These are the kind of rounds that they often win, and then they come back into the game.
Yep.
So you can't afford to take this one for granted if you're Rooster.
Really is teetering on the precipice now, isn't it?
They're just forcing around the two guns. They're full committing.
A lot of utility for Renegades to play with. I wonder if Rooster falls into this trap, you know, tries to do something a little bit quicker. Expecting to be against pistols. It is going to be a lot quicker, in fact, from Rooster. Straight down into the B bomb site. It hasn't worked out at all. Look at that. Malta's gotten one ins a second, and they're just back to that same problem. Bomb plant does go down at least. There's a silver lining for Rooster. But Renegades shouldn't be losing the round from here.
Would assume not. Ince is going to take out Danny G. Sicko knows where ADK is.
Chelios spotted as well, so the location of both of the Ts is now known to Renegades. Chelios has done well to get one there, to be honest, but Renegades are too good.
And look at that. MP9's upgraded straight into AKs. after winning that round. Inns gets a hell of a lot of a hell of a lot of SMG bonus for getting those kills with the MP9. So that pretty much saves Renegades from this downward trend in terms of the economy for quite a while. Now they've got quite a healthy economy. 4 guns surviving, MP9s upgraded into AKs, and Rooster now looking a little bit low on cash on 3 of their players. And that's another one of those rounds. Yeah, okay, it was up against a buy if you talk about the MP9 armor. But the principle is that they really just did go very quickly when they didn't really know what the circumstances were. Now you're seeing us exchange early on. It's a 1-for-1. Both of the big fraggers for both of these teams are out of the equation here. Inns and Chelios both going down right at the start of the round.
Yep.
So let's keep an eye on where Renegades start to move in this 4-on-4. Is there going to be a push somewhere? It's usually Dexter, and again, he's actually just spammed one through smoke there. Not necessarily a push, but that's a great way to get yourself back in towards the man advantage.
Hats has spotted the information that's also important for Renegades, as I recognise there's a couple going in ramp room now, probably in towards that B bomb site. Rotations accordingly for the CT side. Hat's fully white, needs some help, and he gets it. Dexter, well done. Backs his teammate up nicely. Malta loses his head on the A bomb site, but does a significant chunk of damage to ASAP, and should be a fairly routine round for Renegades to close out. Sicko kind of wants to do it himself by the looks of things, but thinks better of it. Smart decision.
Bombs in lower. So it's really just a question of damage here for ASAP. Can't even get that done. Sicko cleans him up, and that's put Rooster in a very bad situation in terms of the money. 2 to 2.7k on 3 of their players. Can drop one AK over, but the rest of them going to be pretty hard done by. Actually, it's the investment in the AWP for Chelios. And that's the pick that starts to turn the round around. Very unlucky to get spammed through the smoke is Danny G. Dexter, that's another critical round where this man gets a multi-frag. Puts his opponent's economy in the bin.
Almost every round for the rest of this map is going to be a critical round, I dare say. Big damage from the nade on top of Chelios' head. Rooster this time have slowed down the proceedings, but that hasn't necessarily favoured them all that much. Just continually getting artillery striked by Renegades. Dexter, clean. Like to see that.
It's as clean as it gets. Rooster just waiting for Chelios to get a pick, really. Holding on to that radio control. Really a whole lot else going on.
It's a very slow round, isn't it?
I think Rooster are waiting for a mistake that's not really going to be coming out in a 5-on-4 when Renegades is well aware their opponent's quite cooked in terms of the money.
Nice double stack here from Sicko and Hats. Should be no problems in dealing with the push that comes. Hats actually only able to get one, and Sicko missing that first shot is kind of what's cooked it for Renegades.
I don't know if Rooster have enough time to get across to the site comfortably, though. Renegades with full control of decon and windows, but 80k winning that duel makes things interesting.
Timing very important for Malta here. If he denies the plant, he actually wins the round if he survives. But he couldn't survive.
What a round from Rooster. Really running the clock down, and you're just seeing those jumps across the lines with the Glock. I'm not sure which player that was. It might have been 80k. Great space for Chelios to get that pick, and then he fakes the bomb. They're well aware that the CT is going to be scrambling down windows, and they don't rush the plant. They don't panic. They know that they have to go for the kills, and they've done it very nicely there. Very split-second decision-making. But Rooster have made that round work. That's fantastic. And now Renegade's economy is pretty cooked.
Yep.
So if Rooster wins here, They could potentially be on 15 and break the CT's money, and Sicko's straight out of the equation, picked off Silo by ASAP.
Down early on in the piece. Not good news for Renegades at all, particularly when Ins is low as well.
Rooster's really gunning for this upset. How do they navigate through this 5-on-4? This could be the nail in the coffin that they need, and they're really pumping the brakes, waiting around in lobby, seeing if anybody's going to be going for a push. Dexter's picked up the AWP of Sicko. He's trying to go for a bit of a play towards outer, see if he can find a pick, but without seeing anybody, repositions in towards Annex. Rooster, in the meanwhile, are grouping up towards the back of lobby, potentially to throw these out as a wall of smoke.
Dexter's gone down now as well. It's looking like 15 on the board for Rooster, a 3-on-5, all that they need to negotiate. Hole in the smoke for Ins to work with if he can find a pick on the cross, but Rooster are on top of that. They're aware of it. Very smart indeed. Ins close by, expecting Nedic. He'll need to do more. There's two!
What?
Oh, Ins, he's just pulled out something magical right when it's been needed. Oh, one-on-one now for Hats. Chelios has gotten a 3K so far. And if anyone can win the round right now for Rooster, it is going to be Chelios.
Yeah, one of them a no-scope. He puts the bomb down. The Hats is scrambling down Mega Charm, but the flick from Chelios puts 15 on the board, and that's going to cook Renegade's economy. 2 to 2.8k in the bank with match point on the board for Rooster.
Wow.
He's got 30 with that kill as well.
You really got to be thinking, what more do I have to do as Ins? As someone who doesn't very regularly pick up the AWP, to get a 3k like that, and then still lose the round, that's a no-scope.
No-scope. He literally gets his 30 bomb and the 1v1 to break his opponent's economy, Chelios.
15-9, Renegades are in a bad spot. This could be the map. Might well see Inferno after all.
It was dicey, but they got it done, Rooster. And now here's another round where they could have their difficulties up against the pistols, up against the scout. But they're not rushing things this time around. They're taking their time. They're waiting for the pushes. It's a much more sensible approach from Rooster.
Nice damage to start off with. But Renegade's going to need more than just damage.
Group towards outer now. And Chelios again opening up the accounting. But Sicko,
How?
literally a millimeter angle.
I was just thinking, there's no way Sicko hits this shot.
He's done it with the scout, no less. Needs to be careful not to overcommit on this angle, though. A lot of T's on that side of the wall. He does spot him out.
Awesome scout squad. Deagle, not so awesome for Ins this time. Nedic just rolls over him in Annex. Into the A bomb site we go. Now the onus is on Malta, but he's sprayed down as well, and it's just Hats. 1v4. Not a chance. Surely not. HP's low on a few players here, but he's going to have to do something special, and he can't. 16-9. Rooster keep themselves in the discussion here in the first game of DreamHack Open Summer.